Hey everyone, welcome back to Headband Maven. Today we're taking inspiration from Walt Disney Animation Studios' third feature, Fantasia, which is a little different than the previous two. Fantasia is the first of several movies Disney would go on to make, including the sequel Fantasia 2000, that instead of following an overall narrative story, it sets animated sequences to pieces of music. What brought about the creation of Fantasia was actually the decline in the popularity of Mickey Mouse. The Sorcerers Apprentice was originally supposed to be a short of its own, but production costs became so high that the only way the studio could make money on it was to take the concept and turn it into a feature-length film with multiple shorts strung together in a sort of animated concert. Of the 8 segments in Fantasia, 7 of them were performed by the Philadelphia Orchestra, and 1, Sorcerer's Apprentice, was performed by a group of Hollywood musicians. So with that all out of the way, let's get to it. The first segment is Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor. It starts out with silhouettes of the orchestra against different colored backgrounds before fading into animated abstract patterns. Initially during its release, it was meant to be a 3D experience in theaters with cardboard stereoscopic frames included in the program, but that ended up falling through. The second segment is Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite, taking different themes from the ballet and using them as backgrounds for the changing of seasons. There's a lot of fairies and flowers and little critters present. They ended up using live-action models to capture the fluidity of a lot of the dances that were animated, including an Arabian dancer for the goldfish in the Arab dance. I get a little bitter every time I hear the Nutcracker, because I was supposed to go see it in 3rd grade, but the day it was scheduled, we ended up having a late start because of snow, because it's Wisconsin. There's snow in Wisconsin. But so we couldn't go. We wouldn't have gotten there in time. So then they rescheduled it. And then on that particular day, the roads, and I guess there was like a snowstorm or an ice storm or something going on during school hours. And so, we all showed up to school. We were ready in our little ballet watching outfits, sitting out front waiting for the bus to come. And the principal canceled the field trip, which I understand, I appreciate her thinking of our safety, but I still have not seen the Nutcracker, and it makes me very sad. The third segment is Paul Dukas' Sorcerer's Apprentice. Mickey is the apprentice to Sorcerer Yen Sid, who is tasked with carrying water back and forth from the well. He decides to try using magic to make his job easier, enchanting a broom to do the work for him, which works fine at first, but eventually everything goes to hell when the broom just keeps bringing water. The short ends with Yen Sid coming in to put an end to the whole thing, Mickey hopefully having learned his lesson about dabbling in things he can't control. Fun fact, this is actually the first time that Mickey was redesigned with pupils. After that, we have Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, taking selections from the ballet score to show Earth's beginnings, from planet formation to the extinction of the dinosaurs. The segment was originally supposed to go through the evolution of mammals and human discovery of fire, but that was cut because of creationists threatening trouble if evolution was connected to humans. Fucking creationists, man. Now, Stravinsky was actually the only living composer whose music was featured in Fantasia, and he did not approve of the arrangement or any of the things that were cut out for the movie. We now come to Intermission. There's a brief jazz set, and then it moves into a demonstration of how sound is visually captured. We meet the soundtrack, a squiggly line that changes shape and color depending on the sounds it's exposed to, such as a harp, a violin, and percussion. After Intermission, we have Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, a Greco-Roman fantasy with figures from mythology coming together to celebrate Bacchus. Everything is great, everyone's having a good time, until Zeus decides to fuck everything up. Because he's Zeus, so of course he does. I'll be honest, this is actually probably my favorite segment out of the whole movie. Segment 7 is Dance of the Hours by Amilcare Ponchielli. Ponchielli. Some Italian guy. This is a comedy ballet representing different parts of the day. You start out in the morning with ostriches, then hippos in the afternoon, followed by elephants in the evening, and ending with crocodiles in the night. Then all the different animals are dancing at the same time until the palace collapses around them. Last we have Night on Bald Mountain and Ave Maria, It opens with Chernabog summoning evil spirits and souls from their graves to spread evil, only to be beaten back by the sound of church bells in the morning. Dawn then finds robed monks traveling through the woods to cathedral ruins. There was also some consideration of releasing smells into the theater during the original showing of Fantasia, including the smell of incense during Ave Maria. I'll be honest, before I sat down to watch this, I did not realize that Fantasia is actually 2 hours long in its full form, which is much longer than my attention span, unfortunately. I probably would have paid more attention to it if I had just watched the individual segments, broken it up, but I was committed to making it through. So I think in terms of ranking, I think I would put Fantasia between Snow White and Pinocchio, because although I wasn't super invested in it, it didn't really capture my attention. It didn't, fill me with horror, or I wasn't uncomfortable watching it in the same way that I was uncomfortable watching Pinocchio. And so even though I don't necessarily have the attention span to watch it all as one whole movie, I could see myself, going back and watching the individual segments at some point or another, because they are entertaining, and it obviously now the setting animation to music is not a new concept, but it's still kind of cool. So now the moment everyone has been waiting for. We're going to see the Headband, inspired by Fantasia. Unfortunately, I think everyone's going to be kind of disappointed because they're probably expecting me to take it from, Pastoral Symphony or something. But I didn't. I took it from the Intermission. So, ta-da! So the most notable thing you'll notice is that, unlike the other two that I made so far, this one is not fabric. It's not fabric, it's not string. This one is actually metal. So I've got a metal headband here. And then I took some, I think it was 20 gauge wire, and I basically wrapped it around and then cut everything to size. And what I was going for with this was the look of the soundtrack. It kind of has that look. But I will tell you, my fingers hurt so bad after making this. I'm never doing this again. So let's go ahead and put it on. Oh yeah, Pinocchio. Ta-da! So I made sure that I didn't go too far down, because I didn't want it catching, behind my ear. That would hurt. But I also might have gone down a little bit more. Those are probably my only complaints about how this turned out. But I mean, it's pretty cute. This is the first time I've made a metal headband. I always thought those were the kind of things that I would have to actually buy. I couldn't make them myself. And originally I considered figuring out how to use a soldering iron. But the very short amount of time I spent looking into it, I just decided that was too much. So I ended up using Gorilla Glue to hold it all together. And then I spray painted it silver, the headband and everything included silver, obviously to make it look better, and also that way you couldn't really see the glue coming out. But yeah, I think it looks cute. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for Fantasia. Thanks for watching. Come back next time. We'll continue on our Disney watch through with, I believe, Dumbo is next. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Bye.